Our journey begins in ancient Alexandria, with the tragic burning of the Library of Alexandria. Imagine a place filled with 500,000 scrolls, a treasure trove of knowledge and wisdom from the ancient world. Now picture it all up in flames. That's exactly what happened when the Great Library of Alexandria was set ablaze. The exact cause of the fire remains a mystery, with various historical accounts pointing fingers at Julius Caesar, the Roman Emperor Aurelian, or even religious fanatics. Regardless of who lit the match, the result was the same: a catastrophic loss of knowledge. Works by great thinkers like Homer, Sophocles, and Hippocrates all went up in smoke, lost forever. This wasn't just a blow to Alexandria, but to the entire world. This colossal error resulted in the loss of countless irreplaceable scrolls and knowledge of countless centuries. A stark reminder of how easily the flames of ignorance can consume the light of knowledge. Moving forward, we arrive at the fall of the Roman Empire. This monumental civilization, once the epitome of grandeur and might, met its decline in a cascade of failures. Economic instability gradually gnawed at the empire's foundations. Over-reliance on slave labor stunted technological advancement, while rampant inflation destabilized the economy. Invasions by Germanic tribes further weakened the empire, as the mighty Roman legions struggled to hold them back. Internal decay, too, played a significant role. Political corruption and power struggles created an unstable environment, with emperors changing frequently, often violently. The empire, stretching from the Atlantic to the Near East, was simply too vast to manage effectively. The decision to split it into the Western and Eastern Roman empires was a double-edged sword, providing temporary relief, but ultimately hastening the end. As the Western Empire crumbled, the world plunged into the Dark Ages. It took many centuries to regain a similar level again. In the Middle Ages, the Black Death swept across Europe, changing the face of the continent forever. Originating in Asia, the plague traveled along trade routes, reaching the shores of Europe in the mid-14th century. The disease was as swift as it was deadly, wiping out entire towns and villages in its wake. The Black Death was not merely a biological phenomenon. It was in fact a colossal error in public health and hygiene. Its rapid spread was enabled by unsanitary living conditions and a lack of understanding about disease transmission. People lived in close quarters, often with rodents and their fleas, the primary carriers of the plague bacteria. This pandemic serves as a stark reminder of the devastating impact of disease on human societies. It underscores the importance of public health measures and the dire consequences when such measures are neglected. The Black Death was indeed a devastating error in public health and hygiene, one that claimed the lives of millions. Revolutionary France takes center stage with the French Revolution. This period of radical political and societal change in France, which lasted from 1789 until 1799, was marked by the collapse of the Bourbon monarchy and the rise of radical political factions. But it wasn't a smooth transition. The Reign of Terror, a period of intense violence and political purge, saw tens of thousands executed in the name of liberté, égalité, fraternité. The guillotine became a symbol of this brutal period, with its blade falling on the necks of both the nobility and the common folk. Yet, the revolution also brought about significant social reform and laid the groundwork for modern political ideologies. However, the Reign of Terror, marked by violence and chaos, was an error in the pursuit of liberty and equality. It serves as a stark reminder that the road to freedom is often fraught with unintended consequences. Fast forward to the aftermath of World War I, where the Treaty of Versailles is signed. A momentous event, yet it marked the beginning of a new era of tension and conflict. The victorious Allies, driven by a desire for retribution, imposed severe penalties on Germany. These punitive measures included hefty reparations that crippled the German economy, and territorial losses that stoked feelings of national humiliation. This treaty, in its severity, aimed to keep Germany weak and prevent another world war. Yet it did the opposite. It sowed the seeds of resentment among the Germans, which were later exploited by Adolf Hitler to rally the nation behind his cause. In essence, the Treaty of Versailles was a crucial misstep in the effort to maintain global peace. Its harsh terms contributed to economic turmoil and laid the groundwork for World War II. A stark reminder of how decisions made in the halls of power can reverberate through history, shaping the world we live in today. Speaking of economic turmoil, the Great Depression of the 1930s was a colossal error. It began with the most infamous stock market crash in October 1929, which sent Wall Street into a panic and wiped out millions of investors. The ensuing years saw widespread unemployment, poverty, and economic instability, reaching all corners of the globe. At the heart of this catastrophe was a lack of financial regulation and oversight. Banks had been too liberal in their lending practices throughout the Roaring Twenties, leading to an unsustainable bubble in asset prices. When the bubble burst, banks found themselves overexposed and unable to cover their losses, leading to widespread bank failures. The Great Depression was more than just an economic downturn, it was a massive failure of economic policy and regulation. It exposed the dangers of unchecked market speculation and the necessity for robust financial oversight. The Great Depression was a colossal error in financial regulation and oversight. World War II brings us to the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. August 1945 marked a turning point in the annals of warfare, as the world witnessed the horrifying power of atomic weapons for the first time. The United States, in a bid to end the war and save lives from a prolonged conflict, dropped 2 nuclear bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In an instant, these cities were reduced to ashes, and over 200,000 lives were lost. The survivors, known as Hibakusha, faced a harrowing aftermath, battling physical injuries, psychological trauma, and social stigma. The bombings not only ended World War II but also ushered in the nuclear age, an era fraught with the constant threat of nuclear annihilation. The use of nuclear weapons in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, therefore, stands as a stark reminder of the devastating power of nuclear weapons, an error we must never repeat. The Vietnam War, marked by controversy and conflict, stands as a testament to the complexities of geopolitical power struggles. This war, which spanned from the mid-50s to the mid-70s, was riddled with strategic missteps on both sides. On one hand, the United States, driven by the fear of communism spreading across Southeast Asia, plunged into a conflict far from its shores. Misjudging the determination of the Vietnamese and underestimating the harsh conditions of jungle warfare led to a protracted and costly conflict. On the other hand, North Vietnam, despite its tenacity and resourcefulness, also made strategic errors that prolonged the war and increased the suffering of its people. These miscalculations, coupled with a lack of clear objectives and understanding of the local context, resulted in a war that took a heavy toll on both sides. The Vietnam War was a political and military error that deeply impacted the lives of millions. In 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear disaster was a catastrophic error. The event, etched in history as one of the deadliest nuclear accidents, was a direct result of fatal design flaws and lax safety protocols. The Chernobyl power plant, located near the town of Pripyat, Ukraine, was home to a reactor that was inadequately designed for safety. A routine safety test spiraled out of control due to these design flaws coupled with human error, leading to an explosion and a subsequent fire that released large amounts of radioactive particles into the atmosphere. The immediate aftermath was disastrous, with dozens of deaths among workers and firefighters. However, the long-term effects were even more severe, with thousands of people affected by radiation-related illnesses and a large area rendered uninhabitable. A catastrophic error in reactor design and safety measures, resulting in long-term consequences. Finally, in recent history, the global financial crisis of 2008 was an error. This wasn't just a simple mistake, but a colossal blunder that sent shockwaves across the globe. It was a time when the world's economy teetered on the brink of a complete meltdown. The crisis was largely a result of financial institutions taking on excessive risk. Banks and other financial institutions had developed complex financial products that few truly understood. These products were tied to the US housing market, which was in a bubble. When the bubble burst, the value of these products plummeted, leading to huge losses. This was compounded by a lack of oversight and regulation. The financial regulators, the supposed watchdogs of the industry, were caught napping. They had failed to understand the risks building in the system and did not take the necessary steps to prevent the crisis. An error in financial risk management and oversight causing a worldwide economic downturn.